Okay, so 4-3, congruent triangles. Starting out with a vocabulary you should be really familiar with at this point is congruent. When two shapes are congruent, they are the same shape and same size. The symbol we often use for this looks like this with the equal sign and a squiggly line on top. Today we're not going to be just looking at congruent shapes, but considering the fact that if you have two congruent shapes, all the parts are also congruent. So in two congruent shapes, all the angles, the individual angles will be the same, all the side lengths would be the same of the individual parts. And that's where this word comes in. It's more like a concept. It's corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. I know that's a mouthful, but what that means is if you have two congruent triangles, then all your corresponding angles are congruent and all your side lengths are congruent. The abbreviation is CPCTC, and that's what you'll see written a lot as an answer choice instead of this all being written out. So I'm going to show you an example of this. Right here, I'm going to draw two congruent triangles as best I can. Okay, so if I was to name these congruent triangles, I would say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle KHJ. I made that look really simple, and there's a lot more to it than just saying the letters. Each part corresponds. For example, angle A is congruent to angle K. So if I have it written like this, I know that angle A is the same measure as angle K. I would then be able to say that angle B is congruent to angle H. So angle B is congruent to angle H. And the matching number of lines on the arc mean that those are matching, they're congruent. And then C matches with J. But wait, there's more. The segments are also matching, and the order here and their position in this statement shows they're congruent. So segment AB is congruent to KH. AB is congruent to KH. And then segment BC is equal to HJ. And then these two here, they have the same position in this A and C, the first and last, would be congruent to segment KJ. So if you were told that two triangles were congruent and you were given angle A and you did not have a picture and were asked for angle K, you could say that angle K was whatever angle A was, just based on the statement. You don't necessarily need the picture in that case. Okay, next concept, again, pretty simple. Triangle angle theorem. If two angles of a triangle are congruent, then the third angle is congruent. So if you have two triangles and two sets of angles are congruent, then the third must be congruent, which makes sense because all three have to add up to 180. So the last one would have to be equal to the. And that's it for notes. So once you're done copying that, we're going to move over to the workbook.